Today, I'm going to be painting the Lord of Plagues from Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I start by basing all the skin in Rakarth Flesh. I do a sparing highlight of Flayed One Flesh. Then I wash the skin in a 50-50 mix of Lahmian Medium and Reikland Fleshshade. Then I use Pallid Witch Flesh on the highest points of the skin. I switch over to the armor and base it in Straken Green. This gives me time to plan out what I'm going to do with the rest of the skin. I wash the armor in a 50-50 mix of Athonian Camoshade and Lahmian Medium. I highlight the edges of all the wounds with Screaming Skull, just to make them pop a little bit. I apply a layer of Emperor's Children to the inside of the open wounds. I then wash the wounds with Berserker Bloodshade to make them look old and clotted. I paint the boils with Averland Sunset. I wash over the boils with Reikland Fleshshade to make the skin look diseased and to dull the yellow. I highlight the boils using Pallid Witch Flesh at a nearly glazed consistency to make the skin look stressed and translucent. I bring the color of the wounds back up using Emperor's Children, careful to avoid the deepest recesses. I pick out the highest points with Fulgrim Pink to give the wounds the illusion that they are wet and glistening. I paint the intestines with Genestealer Purple and then give them a wash of Berserker Bloodshade. Moving on to the spikes, horn, and skulls, I give everything a base coat of Ushabti Bone. I wash the bone details with Seraphim Sepia, and right about here, my hands tell me it's time for a break. I bring the color of the horn, the skulls, and the top half of the spikes up using Ushabti Bone. I highlight the skulls, horn, and last quarter of each spike with Screaming Skull. I highlight the armor with Elysian Green. I use Ogryn Camo to highlight the weathering and most extreme points of the armor. I base the leather details in Mournfang Brown. I highlight the leather details and base the axe blade in Doombull Brown. The leather gets an extreme highlight of Skrag Brown. I base the chainmail skirt in Leadbeltcher and the brass details in Screaming Bell. I wash my metallics in Reikland Fleshshade to make them look corroded. While I'm waiting for my wash to dry, I base the axe handle in Dryad Bark. I highlight the handle using a 50-50 mix of Dryad Bark and Baneblade Brown. I put a small dot of Baneblade Brown atop each spike. This color combination should make the handle look well worn. I base his gut ooze in Warpstone Glow. I highlight the ooze with Moot Green and add 2 dots of Dorn Yellow near the top to make it appear reflective. I bring the chainmail back up with Leadbeltcher and the brass details with Screaming Bell, careful to avoid the deepest recesses. I pick out the highest points of all my metal details using Runefang Steel. I perform an aggressive dry brush of Ryza Rust on the axe head. I dry brush Runefang Steel along the blade. And finally, I stipple the blade with Nihilakh Oxide. And here he is after getting a Nurgle-worthy base. I want to thank you all for joining me today, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel.